In the 1 year of the incumbent government led by Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal, several controversial cases were investigated on, power trades were signed with neighbours India, and Nepal made a notable presentation at climate conference COP28. However, the government also took many controversial decisions and, as analysts put it, it failed to make the most out of its bilateral relations with neighbours. As the government looks forward to the second year, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal, addressing the nation this evening, has reiterated his commitment for greater national strides. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal directs underperforming ministers to vacate their positions, admits lapses in his work, declares the nation will see fast development in this decade. At least 100 Nepalese recruited by Russian army reported missing. Government lacks specific data on the number of Nepalese in Russian army. Those who escaped say they were swindled by traffickers. Festive fervour grips the nation as Kiratis celebrate Udholi and the Newar community Yamari Puni. Dhanya Purnima, a tradition of worshipping rice, also observed today. And the Lalitpur city progresses in the Nepal Super League, defending champions Kathmandu Razors 3-0 to play against Pokhara for a place in the final. Minister for Foreign Affairs N.P. South has said around 100 Nepali nationals who had been recruited in the Russian army have been missing and several others have been reported injured. Minister South said that Nepali nationals who had gone to Russia for employment, education and for travel purposes are suspected to have been recruited in the Russian army. He said that based on the complaints filed at the ministry, the number of Nepali nationals who have been recruited in the Russian army could be much higher. Minister South said that the Russian army had informed regarding the death of 7 Nepali nationals and that the authority has expressed concern regarding the recruitment of Nepali citizens in the army. The minister said that families and friends of 100 individuals who have gone missing or have been injured had filed complaint at the ministry. He maintained that the Russian ambassador to Nepal had been summoned at the ministry and has been urged to correspond with the Russian government regarding Nepal's concern for recruiting its citizens. He also said that efforts were underway to repatriate Nepali nationals who have been held hostage in Ukraine. The foreign minister claimed that Nepali national Bipin Joshi, who has been held hostage in fact by Hamas, is safe and that efforts are underway for his immediate release. The local government of Baque has started collecting applications from the family members in an effort to repatriate Nepali youths who have been taken to Russia illegally by human traffickers and recruited in the Russian army. It has been confirmed that 3 youth of Khajura rural municipality in Baque have been recruited in the Russian army. Human traffickers have been charging 600,000 to 800,000 rupees each to send them to Russia illegally via Dubai. After receiving information that youth of the area have also been recruited in the Russian army, the local authority has begun collecting applications from their families in an effort to repatriate them. Meanwhile, family members of those in the Russian army have said that they have been prohibited from contacting their friends and family members. Those who do refrain from revealing about their condition in Russia. The government has claimed that bilateral efforts to repatriate Nepali nationals who have joined Russian army has already begun. However, it has not yielded desired results as of yet. Marking 1 year in his post, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has announced of a new government work modality and suggested he will not be lenient on underperforming ministers. The Premier also expressed commitment to change his own modus operandi. Addressing the nation today from Singhadarwar, Premier Dahal said he was not in a mood to overlook shortcomings on part of anyone in the government and directed anyone who could not perform to leave their posts. The Prime Minister said although the government did not fail, it failed to perform as he expected. He further added he would limit his engagements to predetermined and mandatory programs. He also said the central government will address the issues of implementation of federalism raised by chief ministers. The Prime Minister also expressed commitments to conclude bills that have been pending at the Parliament through the nearing winter session. He also said political appointments at universities would be stopped and that ambassadors that have failed to perform would be called back. The Premier also informed preparations were underway to form a commission for administrative reforms to distribute land to landless quarters, make the country self-sufficient in medicine and ensure supply of military drinking water project to Kathmandu residents. He also rejected the growing idea that there were no opportunities in the country. The Prime Minister committed of raising investments in sports sector and develop sports infrastructure. Meanwhile, main opposition CPN-UML has called the Prime Minister's work execution in the past 1 year weak. While it is natural for opposition to carry such sentiment, there are leaders within the ruling alliance itself that feel no different. CPN-UML has called the Prime Minister's address to the nation today as a cheap attempt for popularity, adding that the Premier had taken credit for works that his government had not done. The opposition is of the opinion that the past 1 year was a waste, considering what it calls discouraging indicators of foreign affairs, economy, society and growing public frustration. General Secretary of Nepali Congress, Gagan Thapa, called the Premier's address a weak one and said the second year would show whether he fulfills his commitments. Premier Dahal has said changes would be made in the existing practice of programs and policy and budget formation. Based on his proposed plans, the plans and priorities of next fiscal's budget would be presented in the Nepalese month of Falgun of the ongoing year itself. The Premier has also said adequate suggestions will be taken from the people's representatives and the general public while forming the government's programs and policies and the budget. In order to expedite development works, the Premier said works would be done in at least 2 shifts and barrack model would be implemented. He reiterated the government's plan to improve the country's credit rating and ease industrialization ahead of the investment summit held in the Nepalese month of Baisakh, which is around 3 months away. The Prime Minister also said the government has prioritized forging power trade agreements with Bangladesh and China. Meanwhile, industrialists and economists have suggested the government should prioritize and ensure implementation of its announcements. The Premier also announced of subsidies for airlines willing to operate in the Bhairahawa and Pokhara international airports that were made at huge investments. Likewise, the Prime Minister also mentioned during his address the government would provide farmers with subsidized loans and enlist farmers for grants. The Premier also announced the ongoing decade would be a decade of fast development for the country and took credit for the 26% increase in remittance. The Sinduli police have arrested 7 individuals on charge of holding a woman hostage as they had tied and assaulted her. Police have said that 7 individuals, including Santosh, husband of Sharada Thapa from Dhakal Gaon in Kamalamai municipality, who was tied to an electric pole and assaulted, have been arrested and that legal proceedings have also begun. The police have said that according to initial investigation, the incident could be related to property division as both are in the process of getting a divorce. The police claim that the husband was also involved in assaulting the victim. The police rescued Sharada, who was in an unconscious condition. Her sister had filed a complaint, following which the police had reached the incident site and took the victim to the hospital. She has regained consciousness following treatment. Dhanya Purnima or Yamari Puni was celebrated by the Newar community across the country today. The festival marks the end of rice harvesting season, while Japu Day was also observed today with much fervor. The community observed Yamari Puni as well as the Japu Day today to commemorate the interdependent relation between the community and agriculture. Japu Day was observed today with the intention of promoting unity and harmony by organizing cultural programs in the valley with the participation of 63 Japu Guti. The main occupation of Japu community in Kathmandu is agriculture. However, the increasing urbanization has posed threat to occupation. Arable lands have been decreasing due to plotting and expansion of settlement. Meanwhile, community elders say the young generation have been showing little interest in the festivals and culture and attribute the scenario to modernization. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal, who had participated in the Japu Day, stressed on the need to protect cultural practices and said that everyone is equally responsible for it. Members of the Kirat community in the eastern hilly region and the federal capital celebrated Sakela Udholi festival with much fanfare today. The Sakela Udholi generally falls on the full moon day of Nepalese month of Mangshir, and it marks the downward migration of not just the people living in hilly regions but also birds and animals to lower altitudes as winter approaches. Kirat people also celebrate the festival to commemorate good harvest and thank Mother Nature. The Sakela dance is an integral part of the community's festival, which is twice celebrated every year. Members of the Limbu community also celebrated Chasok Tangnam or Nwagi Parva today, while Hindu devotees observed Dhanya Purnima. And in this context, in our Public Voice segment, today we've asked people in several provinces what can the younger generation do to preserve culture and tradition. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
जो जुनै जातमा जन्मे पनि प्राउड फिल गर्नु पर्यो अनि त्यसमा आफ्नो रुटसँग कनेक्ट भएर जे जस्तो हुन्छ भाषा संस्कृति जोगेर्ना गर्ने एक्टिभिटीज सँगै अगाडि बढ्नु पर्यो
युवाले सिक्नु पर्यो हामीले पनि सिकाउँदै छौं
युवाहरुलाई चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ हाम्रो भाषा प्रतिको मोहलाई पहिला अगाडि ल्याउनु पर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ भाषा नभइकन हाम्रो संस्कृति पनि बचाएर राख्न सक्दैनौं
हाम्रो संस्कृतिहरु बाहिर देशसम्म पुर्याउनु पर्यो अनि त्यसपछि हामीले डिफरेन्ट यस्तो अर्गनाइजेसनहरु गरिराख्नु पर्यो
आफ्नो कल्चरलाई शो गर्न पर्छ
पिता पुर्खाका विभिन्न ज्ञानहरु धारणाहरुको संरक्षण गर्दै यसको चाहिँ अहिलेको युवाहरुले यसको संरक्षण गर्नुपर्छ
पश्चिमी भेषभूषा कल्चरलाई चाहिँ त्यागेर आफ्नो नेपाली मौलिकपनलाई चाहिँ त्यसको चाहिँ जगेर्ना गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ
युवाहरुले चाहिँ विभिन्न किसिमका गाउँघरमा भइरहेका हरेक साना साना कार्यक्रममा पनि सहभागी गराउनु पर्दछ
हामीले विदेशीको सिक्नु भएन
हाम्रो संस्कार संस्कृति जोगाउनको लागि चाहिँ अग्रजहरुबाट सिक्नु पर्यो आफ्नो भेषभूषाहरुलाई चाहिँ अब सार्वजनिक कार्यक्रमतिर झल्काउनु पर्यो
भन्दा अगाडिको अग्रज व्यक्तित्वसँग सिक्ने त्यसपछि आफूले जान्ने भएपछि आउँदो पुस्तालाई चाहिँ सिकाउनु पर्छ
युवा पुस्ताहरुलाई बाहिर जानबाट रोक्ने
गीत संगीतको पाटोबाट पनि अगाडि बढाउनु पर्यो
विभिन्न जात जातिहरुले मनाउँदै आएको मौलिक परम्पराहरु युवा पुस्ताले निरन्तरता गर्नु पर्यो
The price of rice has increased during the harvesting season due to negligence on part of the government and high-handedness of traders. At a time when neighboring India has imposed a ban on export of Jeera Mosino rice, traders back home have increased the price of a bag of rice by 400 rupees. The price of a bag of Jeera Mosino rice, which used to cost 1800 rupees, has reached 2200. The price of rice, which should have decreased amid the harvesting season, has rather increased. 600,000 tons of paddy and 500,000 tons of rice had been imported from India last year. Traders have attributed the price hike to the failure in importing rice from India this time around. The Indian government has imposed prohibition on exports of the said type of paddy and rice, considering the upcoming general election in 2024. The price of rice has increased due to high-handedness of traders, as the government has failed to import rice from India through government-to-government method. In the meantime, the Indian government has said to provide 95,000 tons of rice to Nepal, but has not disclosed its price and quality. The government is said to import 30,000 tons of rice from India, while the private sector will import the remaining 65,000 tons. The private sector, however, has been hesitating to import the rice, citing uncertainty regarding quality. Nepal produces around 5.5 to 5.6 million tons of rice annually, while the country's demand for rice is almost 7 million tons. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we asked you what should be done to improve security at Trivandrum International Airport. 38% voted for option A, revised laws, 34% for B, coordination among government entities, and 28% for C, punish the guilty. And here's today's question. Why has the country failed to become self-sufficient in rice? Your options are A, no encouragement for farmers, B, lack of labor force, and C, import-based mentality. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us.
Sports News.
Lalitpur City has progressed to the second qualifier of Nepal Super League, defeating Kathmandu Raisers 3-0. In the match held in Dashrath Stadium, Lalitpur opened its account in the 36th minute as Imon Ezekiel scored in the 36th minute. Lalitpur doubled its lead as towards the end of the first half through Papa Ibu Kebe's goal. Lalitpur maintained attacking form throughout the game, adding another goal in the 54th minute as Imo scored his personal second goal of the match. Lalitpur will now play against Pokhara Thunders on Thursday.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the half-time of the ongoing must-win.
Nepal Police Club have entered into the semi-finals of the Pro Club Championship, defeating Parsa Club 11. In the match held in Birganj Cricket Stadium, police defeated Parsa by 25 runs. Police were put to bat first as Parsa won the toss. They posted 124 runs in the stipulated 20 overs, losing 6 wickets. Opener Sunil Dhamala failed to open his account. It was the same for Dilip Nath. When Parsa took 2 wickets in the first over, Parsa had scored just 2 runs. However, Captain Arif Sheikh contributed 22 runs, Amrit Shrestha scored 26 and Karan Casey 29. Parsa's Sansad Mansoori and Rupesh Singh claimed 1 wicket each. Chasing a victory target of 125 runs, Parsa had a rocky start. Imran Sheikh was out for 1 run. Anil Shah failed to open his account and remaining players also could not perform well enough to reach the target. Captain Sandeep Lamichhane scored 23 runs. Rupesh Singh added 15. Sagar Thakal claimed 2 wickets for police. Lalit Raj Bansi, Karan Casey and Sher Malla claimed 1 wicket each. Police are in the second position of the points table with 6 points from 4 matches. 4th place Parsa has 4 points. India's Uttar Pradesh 11 has concluded their journey at the Nepal Pro Club Championship without a win as they were defeated by another team from India, Wanderers Club Noida, by 7 wickets in today's match. Harshit Sethi staged an all-round performance as Noida won its second match of the tournament. Noida had opted to field first in the match held in Narayani Cricket Stadium. UP 11 managed to score 114 runs in the stipulated 20 overs, losing 9 wickets. Altmash Alam scored 16 runs in 13 balls. Skipper Shahim Hassan returned to the pavilion, scoring just 1. Samir Ansari was the highest run scorer for UP 11 with 24 runs, followed by Jaideep Singh with 23. Fardin Ali scored 15 runs, Shubham Chaudhary 7, Bhim Sharma 9, Tarun Kumar 4 and Nikhil Pratap 2. Sashank Sekhar and Sanjeev Chaturvedi claimed 2 wickets each, while Alipt Gupta and Harshit Sethi claimed 1 wicket each. In reply, Wanderers Club reached the target in 15 overs, losing 3 wickets. Harshit Sethi top scored with 45 runs in 32 balls. Siddhartha Goswami contributed 27 runs and Uzair Malik 22. Ritik Arora and Ritik Vats each scored 7 runs for the Wanderers innings. Satya Tiwari claimed 2 wickets for UP 11 and Sahim Hassan 1. With the loss, UP ended its journey in the tournament. Noida, meanwhile, is in the 3rd place at the points table with 4 points, having won 2 and lost 2 matches. And that is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.